Yeah, hello and welcome to the online learning session ABB RoomTouch KNX and DALI Light Control. Yeah, our online learning session take around 30 minutes. The focus is on a special topic or a selected function of a device. Today it's a RoomTouch with DALI Light Control. My name is Thorsten Reibel from the ABB Competence Center Europe, Smart Buildings. And together with us is also Martin Jürgen, and Jürgen will present today. I hand over to him, just a moment.
Hello and welcome. Jürgen Schilder is speaking and I present this online learning session. Thanks Thorsten for your introduction. Now what is on the agenda? Today I'm going to show you how the ABB RoomTouch works with a KNX DALI gateway DGS. For this purpose the RoomTouch offers a special control element. After a brief introduction to the RoomTouch, I come to this control element RGBW Control. Depending on its parameter settings, a DALI RGB color light or a color temperature with warm and cold white can be controlled. Some words about the ABB RoomTouch KNX. We launched this KNX touch panel last September. It is available in two colors, black and white, and can be mounted in the so-called landscape mode or portrait mode. This ABB RoomTouch offers all functions we need in a typical room, meeting room, or for example in a residential room. We can control all the lights, blinds, room temperature control, call scenes, and of course also possible to control audio devices. It has some features inside like a temperature sensor, proximity sensor, and a lot of more things, timers, alarm messages, and so on. What is now new? That is, ABB RoomTouch is now commissioned via the ETS and the so-called DCA app. So here you can see some pictures of a typical, let me say, meeting room. You have several units, one unit for controlling the light, another one for HVAC, and here another one, for example, for the shutter or for the curtains. The same like here, or here you have maybe 10 operating elements in one room, unbelievable. Or here in a typical meeting room, we have here switches for the light, here, for example, for the media control, and here I think this is for the shutters, and additionally a guidance how to operate all these devices. Unbelievable. So now what is easier? The solution is here to use the ABB RoomTouch KNX. We have one operating element, and with this ABB RoomTouch we can control the lights, shutters, blinds, curtains, media technology, everything else is here possible. The ABB RoomTouch offers maximum 30 control elements, different elements for switching, for dimmers for example, to call scenes, to send values or also to see values. We can control audio units, fan speed, split units, and now today we put a focus here on this control element RGB or tunable white, white color, warm white and cold white. So for example here you can see some pictures like here for RGB with purple light or green. You see also here the status, and here we are this colored field. You can select here, or you can the desired color you want to have here with the DALI gateway. Or here for tunable white you can swipe here between warm white and cold white and change here also the brightness level. Good, more information about the ABB RoomTouch you will find on our training and qualification database, the webinar recording, the webinar slides, also of some webinars and online learning sessions. More information on our product website abb.com/KNX, and go to visualization, display, signaling, and then you get here all information including the KNX profile and the ETS app you need for commissioning. So now let's come to the first topic. Now what we want to do, we are the ABB RoomTouch, we want to control here typical RGB LED strips. So what we need, our ABB RoomTouch, the control element here, RGB, a DALI gateway. This can be for example our DGS X6411 or 51, the so-called DALI gateway premium or basic, the DALI light controller also possible, so a standard ABB KNX DALI gateway. So then we need here a DALI driver or DALI ballast, device type 0 for example, here with 3 channels or 3 outputs, and each of the channel needs a DALI address. So this DALI driver occupies 3 DALI addresses. And then we need here a power adapter to supply here our typical LED strips. You can see here the 4 cores. One is the common plus, and the other one is for the red LEDs, for the green LEDs, and for the blue LEDs. So this is exactly the situation we have at the moment. And we at the RoomTouch, we want to control here the different lights, red, green, purple, yellow, and so on. Some words about the DALI gateway. Here you can see our 4 DALI gateways DGS. The basic DALI gateway, DGS X, X stands for 1 or for 2 channels, 6411. 1 means it's the basic. Here this is our basic DALI gateway for a wide range of applications. We can use here for groups or single control is a parameter, emergency lighting templates, and so on. And later, for the tunable white, device type 8, for warm and cold white, we need the DALI Gateway Premium, DGS 645. This is really important because only this DALI Gateway supports here the tunable white device type 8. For some other functions, we can use it also for human-centric lighting, dim to warm, or we have here also integrated the standby shutdown function. More information about our DALI gateways you can find also on our training database. We have given so many webinars and online learning sessions, special focus on dim to warm, HCL, emergency lighting, and so on. So please go on our training and qualification database, or you can find also on our YouTube channel also the videos of this online learning session and webinars. Good, then let's start with commissioning. So at first we start the ATS. We add from the catalog ABB RoomTouch to our building or topology view. Of course, if you have still existing device, then we can skip this step. So what is now important, that the RoomTouch is commissioned via the so-called DCA app. So not via the parameters. So when you click here on parameters, you see information on parameters available. You have to click here on a DCA field, and then you see here maybe similar like the parameter settings, all possibilities to commission the device. Okay, so the next step is via drag and drop. We take here from our taskbar the control RGBW control via drag and drop and add it here to one of our pages. So this is the next step. So and then we set the parameters of this RGB control element. So you have to click here or select it here, and then on the right field you see all the parameters. This is similar like the ETS parameter setting fields. So set here the parameters like always, and then we have to link, or we can link the group addresses here inside the DCA app. So when you click here on the RGB control element, you see all group objects of this control element, no more. So, I think this is here a big advantage. And then via drag and drop from the group address view, this field here on the right side is similar like our group address view. You take the group address and link it here to the objects. And then, as always, download the individual address and the application. So these are the steps by using here the DCA app. Now let's have a look here on these parameters. So start with the first half of the parameters. The first parameter is here name of the control element. You can enter here user-friendly name. Maybe this is, for example, the LED strip on the ceiling. Yeah, what do you want? Because this text here is displayed in the RoomTouch later. So next parameter, show value in control. Yes, if you do it. And then you can see the RGB brightness level also on the ABB RoomTouch. So then we select the type of our color or white lamp. So if you have, for example, only RGB, all possibilities also to use RGB white, RGB warm white, cold white, or only warm white, cold white. So in our example, we want to control here our RGB LED strip, and then we select here RGB. So what we can also set here parameter, how if you want to have, let me say how to switch on and off via the RGB feedback. It means via by sending the value 0% to red, green, and blue color we switch off, or by sending here a separate 1-bit objects. So when we tick here, then we get an additional 1-bit group object for switching on off. But our preferred solution is to use here the RGB feedback because we work here together with our ABB DALI gateway. Good, the next parameter are here the brightness change. For example, the steps like here, for example, 1%, we can keep it like it is. Or the next is telegram is repeated every half seconds. This is, for example, when we change here the color, maybe also we can keep it like it is. What is a nice parameter is here switched on via the preset value, yes or no. I show you or I explain you this parameter on the next slide. Please wait. And the last parameter is, like always, available on our control elements if it's possible to disable this control element. Like for example, in a hotel room, the hotel guest remove his keycard from the reader, and then via 1-bit group telegram we can disable this element. So when he removes the keycard, he can not longer operate this element. So now let's come to the next parameter with this switched on preset value. What is here behind? So we can store a so-called preset value in this control element in the RoomTouch. So, and when we switch off and the next time on, always this preset value is sent from the RoomTouch to the DALI gateway. So now I can change the color like I want, but when I switch off and on again, always I have the same colored light in my room. If we want to use this feature, yes, then we have to tick it, use this preset value, and then the end user can go to his RoomTouch. He select the LSD strips. By the slider, he can set at first the brightness level, and then here he can change the RGB color. Like for example, what is it, purple or pink? So then he goes back to his element, and he press and hold the finger on this light icon. So then what happens, the next step is that the blue bar runs here on the upper screen and shows he's now in this, let me say learning mode. And after 2 seconds, he gets here via a check mark the indication that this new preset value has now been stored. So now when he changed the color again, he switched off, he switched on again, always the RoomTouch sends always exactly this stored here preset value. It's an option, yes or no, if you want to use it or not. Good, then let's come to our group objects, how to link the group objects. So here on our RoomTouch control element RGB, we get 4 group objects. The first one is value red, it's a 1-byte object, value green, value blue, and additional here a value RGB as 3-byte objects. So in the DALI gateway, we can control our ballast or groups, what we want. Here in my example, I use, for example, 3 groups. Group number 1 is my red LEDs, group number 2, the green, and group number 3, the blue LEDs. So now, I think it's not really difficult. What we have to do, we create 3 group addresses. 1 group address from the value red, 0 to 100%, link it here to my group number 1, brightness value. And the same for my value green, also link it here to my group number 2, brightness level, which is my green color. And value blue, link it here to my group number 3, to my blue LED strip. So this is all what we have to do. We need only these 3 group addresses sent by the RoomTouch, here to our DALI gateway groups or individual control ballast, so we are flexible in our DALI gateway. Now when we have a look at a group monitor, I switch, for example, here on, then you will see here 3 telegrams. So the first 3 telegrams are sent here by the RoomTouch. You see here group number 1 red, group number 2 green, number blue 3, and here it's a percent value between 0 and 100%. So he sent red 66%, green 15%, and blue 5%. And then our DALI gateway follows exactly these 3 telegrams and set here the desired color. When I switch off via the RoomTouch, the RoomTouch sends now again the same 3 group addresses, but here you can see always the value 0 and the light goes here off in our DALI gateway. This is how it works here between the RoomTouch and our DALI gateway. So let's have here a look on the RoomTouch, how it looks like in real. So here on the right side, you can see one page of the RoomTouch. Here you can have 1, 2, or 3 control elements. So here in my example, I have set only 2 control elements. So here I have here on the left side a RGB control element, like for example my LED strips on the wall, and here on the right side on the ceiling. So here on top, DALI LED strips, this is the name of the page I have entered in the ETS parameter. And here, this is the name of the control element, like here wall or ceiling. And if I want, when I have enabled the parameter, I can see here also the status, the RGB brightness status as the feedback. So additionally, I can see here also the status. You see here, for example, these are in 10% steps. Now here 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Now here, this output, I have 60% brightness between 60 and 70. And of course here I have 8 of these green markers. So I have maybe between 80 and 90% brightness. So, and here in the middle, I can see green. This is the status of the color. So here I have selected green color and for example here purple. So to change the brightness, or for example, the color level, I can swipe here with my finger like you use your mobile phone, or by tapping here on the icon, I can switch on and off. So now let's have here a look on the RoomTouch in the so-called portrait mode. So I go here, for example, in my room, and then I see here my different control elements. Of course, I will have here in reality more about switching, room temperature control and so on. Then I see here again my first control element, like here wall, the status, and by tapping here I can switch on and off. When I want to change the color or the brightness, I have to tap here on these 3 dots, and then another page opens again with the name of my control element, and here by swiping I can change here the color, and via this slider I can dim darker or brighter. This is how I operate such a control in the portrait mode. In the landscape mode I can do the same. Via here swiping I can dim darker and brighter, and when I click here, for example, on this element, a new window pops here up, and here I can change here, for example, my color level. This is very easy, and when I finished I go back, and then I can here again switch off and switch on my color. Good, so far the operation of RGB color light with the ABB RoomTouch. Then let's come to the next topic, how we can control device type 8 tunable white spots. So here, the overview, again, our ABB RoomTouch with our 2 control elements for tunable white, warm white, cold white. I have here 2 spots again. So the DALI gateway, here we need the KNX DALI gateway premium DGS X6451, because only the 51 supports this device type 8 DALI drivers. So this is device type 8, supports, for example, these tunable white spots. Power adapter to supply here the LED, tunable white LED spots with power. So these are special spots which supports this tunable white, this color temperature between, for example, 2200 and 6500 Kelvins. So we have different devices like spots or also here LED strips. So here you can see this is a tunable white LED here with warm white and cold white. So all these tunable white spots or LEDs have 3 wires. One is the common plus, and one is for the warm temperature, and the other one is for the cold temperature. So this is exactly what we want to do via these control elements to change the color temperature and the brightness. So some words about this DALI Gateway Premium. It must be the premium version. Of course, we have all features and functions of the basic, plus some more like this tunable white, device type 8, human-centric lighting, dim to warm, and so on. Good, then let's start with commissioning. For example, we can add here a new RoomTouch in our project, or we can still continue working with the existing one. So do not forget to click here on this DCA button that we can see here our DCA configuration page, and then we start with our element. So from our taskbar via drag and drop we add again such a control element to one of our pages. Such a RGB control element can use a complete page, or we can have 2 or 3 of control elements on one page. So it depends on the settings. So then again we set the parameters of this RGB of this tunable white control like before, and at the end we link here the group addresses from our group address view here to our group objects, download, and so on. So this is always the same steps, independent which kind of control we have here. So then let's come to the parameters. So first parameter, name of the control, maximum 36 characters, exactly the text we will see later, yeah, in the display. So if we want to see also the value, the brightness value, then we tick it here, yes or no. So type of color lamp, here we select no RGB, we change it to WW This means warm white and cold white. So this is now, if we want to control these tunable white spots, select here warm white and cold white. So next parameter is how we want to control this device. We have different possibilities. We can use an object, warm white, cold white. Then we get two group objects. One group object is a value between 0 and 100% for warm white, and the second group object is here a value for cold white. So by using these two group objects, we can mix here our color temperature. Another possibility is to use the object's temperature brightness. Then we get again two objects, one byte group objects for the value brightness and for the value of the temperature. Or the preferred solution is to use here the data point type 7.6. So this is a special data point type specified by the KNX Association for temperature control. And this value here, or this data point type 7600, is the so-called absolute color temperature. And here we can really send the value, go to 3000 Kelvin, 4500 or 6000 Kelvins. This is a real value which can be sent here by our control element. So this is the preferred solution, because also the DALI gateway supports, of course, this data point type. Good, so we select here data point type 7600. So the next step is we have to set here our minimum and maximum color temperature range. So this depends on the DALI driver and LEDs. So you have to check the data sheet of the DALI driver. Maybe some DALI drivers, like in my example, he supports between 3000 and 6500 Kelvins. The LEDs I use in my exercise supports from 2200 to 6500. So, but it makes no sense to enter here 2200 because the DALI driver starts with 3000. So I have really to select here the corresponding color temperature value. The brightness level, the brightness change, for example, here 1%, and other objects like always. Good, then let's come to the example how we assign the group addresses between this control element, warm white, cold white, and our DALI gateway. So here on the left side, we get the object for switching on and off. We get the object for value brightness, is a 1 byte, 0 to 100%. And we get a value for the temperature. This is here our 2 byte value. And our DALI gateway, we have here, for example, for switching, brightness value, the status for brightness values, our color temperature, and the status of the color temperature. Good, then let's start. We create the first two group addresses. One is for switching on and off here our ballast or our group, and another group address is to send back here the status to this object. So here in our RoomTouch we have a common object for sending and also for status. So then another group address from the value brightness from the RoomTouch to our DALI gateway, and a group address from the status brightness back here to our RoomTouch. And another group address from the value of the temperature, the color temperature, to the DALI gateway, to the object set color temperature, and here also the status back to the object. And this here is the special data point type 7600, the so-called absolute color temperature, and it contains really here the color temperature value in Kelvin. So, and if we want to disable, for example, here our control, then we send here a 1-bit information, maybe via card reader or time switch overdone, and then the end user cannot operate this element. Good, so far these are here the group objects which must be linked between here our ABB RoomTouch for controlling warm white and cold white and our DALI gateway. So then let's see a look on these control elements for warm white, cold white. Here on the right side you can see the RoomTouch with two elements. We can have here 1, 2 or 3 control elements. On the left side I have here tunable white spot, maybe for the light on the ceiling. You can see here the feedback, the brightness status 50%, also here 5 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements, which shows you also maybe here between 50 and 60%. And you see here also this looks a little bit blue. So now the color temperature is now cold white. Here on the right side, we have a control element also for tunable white. We see here the status, maybe more than 80%. And you see here it looks like yellow because here we have at the moment a color temperature, maybe what will be 3000 Kelvins warm white. So the end user can see immediately the status of the brightness and here also the status of the color temperature. So by tapping on and off, he can switch on off the light, or by swiping here, he can change the brightness or the color temperature. So now on the left side, you can see the portrait mode. You get here maybe, for example, a room. This is the name of the room. And here you get here also the name of the control element. Reality makes sense here to write here ceiling or wall, what you want. So by tapping here, again, we can switch on and off. We see here also this is more cold white, and here this is more warm white icon. So also the end user can see here the status of the color temperature. For more operation, we can tap here on these 3 dots, and then a new page opens, and here we are a slider, which is maybe a white. I'm not sure if you can see it. Here by swiping, we can change between warm white and cold white, or maybe here in the middle or somewhere. And then when you release the finger, the RoomTouch send here our absolute color temperature, for example, 4000 Kelvins. And here via the slider, it's possible to dim darker or brighter. So the same we can do here in the so-called landscape mode. Landscape mode, when we hold here our finger and we swipe up and down, we can change here the brightness. Here you can see this is more yellow because the color temperature is now yellow. Also here we can see the status. And if we want to change, for example, the color temperature, then we tap here on this icon, and then we get here a new window. And here we can again, by swiping, change our color temperature between warm white and cold white. Good, this is so far the operation and the view of our ABB RoomTouch control element for warm white and cold white. Good, so far this was my presentation on this ABB RoomTouch with a KNX DALI gateway. Thanks for listening, and I hand back now to Thorsten.
Yeah, thank you, Jürgen. Great. Yeah, I think relatively simple, both in programming and also operation. Jürgen, I like your picture with a collection of operating elements. With the guidance. Crazy, yeah, but we have seen something like this, yes, and much better, of course, with our RoomTouch. So then allow me to show, as always, the last slides. So you find everything around our RoomTouch on our homepage, the operating instructions and manual and so on. Everything there. If you need some more information, we have our training and qualification database where we store all our content. Also this session will be stored, and then our training and qualification calendar, where we at the moment only show our online sessions, no classroom trainings, and we cannot continue at the moment with any classroom trainings, presence trainings in the factories, neither with a certified training, but we hope to continue then next year. We will see what happens, but we will inform you. How do we continue? Webinars, as always, coming in November with our KNX switch actuators with energy function, new hardware with real metering inside. We will show this. The QAS 161, it's an energy analyzer KNX, can be part of a total solution, complete solution here. We show you everything around the components, but also the solutions behind. Then on the 11th of November. And still this week, we continue or finalize the topic ABB RoomTouch KNX. With some more functions. Audio control will be the main topic, but also some small further functions will be shown on Thursday this week. And please join us, and then you will see a bit more. Thank you for your participation. I see no questions at the moment. And Jürgen edited here also scenes, alarm messages will be part. So a good collection of the final functions, let's say, inside this RoomTouch. So hope to see you next time. Thank you for your participation. See you. Bye-bye. Ciao.